Oh, ladies and gentlemen, buddy sunshines and chuffing sweethearts. And I'm going to do something a little bit different today. This is like chuffing Big Al's bloody ramblings. We're not doing much in terms of the kind of whiskey tasting in a minute because I'm still at work, but it's Easter holiday and there's lots of people like kind of mooching out. So I find it difficult at the moment to get the time to do the whiskey reviews, but they will be back. So stop crying. Stop crying. It's all right. The whiskey reviews will be back. But in the shopping meantime, I'd like to tell you the shopping story. This is a story that I used to tell our shopping Charlie when he was 4 or 5 years shopping home. And this is something I used to tell him this before shopping bedside, shopping terrorise him. But this happened to me when I was 67 years old, ladies and gentlemen. And basically, I was up in my shopping bedroom one evening. It was a weekday, so it was school in shopping morning. Just had a bloody sausage casserole and chuffing flapjack. And I'd just been reading James and chuffing Giant Peach, so my chuffing imagination were already spiked by the reading of the chuffing bit, the old chuffing Roald Dahl, you know what I mean? So, yeah, turned lights off, but there was still plenty of light knocking about it, chuffing summer's day, like, and all that kind of shenanigans. Just probably closed my eyes, had my eyes closed for about 30 chuffing seconds. All of a sudden, I heard this, like a chuffing sound like that, bloody jumped near out my bloody skin, whopping my eyes, chuffing some chuffing old dude, adult with a chuffing beard, never seen before in my chuffing days, stood in the corner of the chuffing bedroom. Looked like a chuffing wizard. That was my first thing that went through me, and I thought, this guy's a chuffing wizard. I've read the books, I've seen the chuffing movies, I've heard about all that chuffing shite. But he didn't have like a kind of intimidating, chuffing dark presence. He seemed like a bloody friendly chap. So, once me bloody pulse rate had bloody calmed down, I stopped chuffing sweating. You know, I were no longer at fear of chuffing barfing up my bloody sausage casserole, me chuffing flapjack. He looked at me quizzically. I just said to him, just off the top of my head, I said, are you a wizard? He said, that's very bloody perceptive of you, young man. He says, buddy, it's all right, I'm a chuffing wizard, mate. He says, but I'm not an ordinary, generic kind of chuffing wizard. He says, I'm not Gandalf. He says, I'm not Dumbledore. He says, I'm not chuffing Merlin or chuffing Boris Johnson or somebody else with a crazy haircut. He says, I, young man, are the bloody chocolate wizard. I says, bloody chocolate wizard? He says, I've never bloody heard of you, read about you in bloody books. He looks a bit affronted at this. He started chuffing tutting, but once he calmed down and just accepted I was just a little kid, you know what I mean? I weren't putting anything I said through a chuffing filter. He just basically said to me, it's come to my attention, he says, that you're a big fan of bloody chocolate. I says, bloody, it's all right, sunshine. I says, I don't like my bloody chocolate. He says, but, he says, I get a feeling that your emotions are a little bit conflicted, young man. He says, would you like to tell me, maybe elaborate, and tell me a little bit chuffing more about this chuffing situation a little bit, the old chocolate wizard's all ears. So I told him, I said, well, once a week, I guess, I'll get a little bit of chuffing pocket money off my mum and dad. Sometimes I get odd chuffing shackle thrown my way from my chuffing Uncle Steve and a few other chuffing cats. I said, the first thing I do, Mr. Chuffing Chocolate Wizard, I said, I nip down to chuffing local bloody shop, buy me son as much bloody chocolate as I can chuff in a forward, and bloody trough it. Usually most of it's gone before I get back to the chuffing house, you know what I mean? He says, well, what's so bad about that? I says, it's that feeling. I says, you've been waiting all week for this. You've spent your bloody shackles, you've ate your chocolate, and all you're left with is a little bit of taste of chocolate on your chuffing taste buds, an empty wrapper and an empty chuffing wallet. And it's that kind of sadness that you're going to have to wait and inside of a full chuffing week to experience these chuffing pleasures again. He says, well, it's funny you should say that. This is where our chuffing come in, sunshine, he says. This is where I come in. You notice that I say sunshine a lot. It was Chocolate Wizard that I got it off of. He said sunshine about 55 times in this conversation. He says, look, he says, my particular area of expertise, says, I'm not called bloody Chocolate Wizard for nout. He says, I'm not made out of bloody chocolate myself. I'm not going to melt in the chuffing sunbeam. He says, this is where my power lies. And out of that, all of a sudden, out of his chuffing back pocket, he produced this chuffing bar of chocolate and he held it up in front of me, a big bar. He says, you know what this is? I says, that's a chuffing bar of chocolate, mate, sunshine. Get it chuffing sent over. He says, before I give it to you. He says, this is no ordinary bloody chocolate bar. He says, not Mars bar. He says, not a Twix or a bloody Snickers He says, which I distinctly remember used to be called bloody marathons and chuffing Americans got the chuffing hands on it. He says, it's not a double-decker. He says, it's not even a single-decker. He says, it's not a whisper or a shouter or a Kit Kat. He says, this is a chuffing magic chocolate bar, young man. You better chuffing believe it, sweetheart. And he passed it to me. And I was just about to say to her, what's so magic about it? And I heard that sound again. And I looked over at the corner, chuffing up. It's skedaddled, he'd chuffing gone. Like a bloody thief at night, only trouble is he didn't nick out. So, sat there, feeling a little bit amped up, but I soon relaxed, I soon calmed down. I chuffing pulled back the bloody wrappers and seen the most succulent chuffing chocolates I've ever chuffing seen in my life, so I start bloody eating it. And I've got to tell you, it's chuffing, it were delicious. Probably the best chocolate I've chuffing had in a chuffing age, you know what I mean? Troughed it, screwed wrapper up, fruit wrapper in chuffing bin. And I'm waiting for some kind of magic effect, but although it was delicious, nothing magic happened. It's not as if I grew like 6 inches taller or got more handsome or got more intelligent or out like this or felt great. It was just a nice chocolate bar. So I was a little bit chuffing underwhelmed. I was a little bit underwhelmed, ladies and gentlemen, sunshines of the sweethearts. But when I woke up the next morning, I had a bit of a yawn, bit of a stretch, looking out room, looked down by me chuffing feet. 2 identical replicas of that chocolate. There were 2 chocolate. He'd give me 1 chocolate bar. By my feet, there was 2 identical replicas of that chuffing chocolate bar. So I chuffing scoffed them, didn't I? Didn't think no about it. Thought it was a bit odd. Went down, had my chuffing breakfast. Said hello to my mum and dad and my chuffing brother. Went to school. Did all that stuff. Come back. Went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, there were chuffing 4 chocolate bars. The morning after that, there was 8 chocolate bars. The morning after that, there was 16 chocolate. I thought, aye. I'm chuffing, I'm no bloody Carol Vorderman or anything like that. I'm not a chuffing mathematical chuffing genius like chuffing Einstein. But hey, I'm starting to detect that every morning the amount of chocolate bars, these magic chocolate bars, is chuffing doubling. So tomorrow it's going to be 32, then it's going to be bloody 64 and all that bloody shenanigans. Well, it got to a point. I'm eating about chuffing 20 chocolate bars before I go to bloody school. I'm giving them to my mum, my dad, my chuffing brother, people on street, school friends. It got that bad. I was even giving chocolate bars to people I didn't chuffing like. People that were bullying me, I was chuffing, ramming bloody chocolate bars down the chuffing guzzlers. Get out of hand. Woke up one morning, you can see where this is going. Couldn't move. I had about 3 or 4 chuffing tons of compressed chuffing chocolate bars squeezing me into the chuffing bed. They had to phone bloody fire brigade. In the end, the family, it were bursting into chuffing other rooms, it were cracking windows, it were going up chuffing hose pipes and bloody chimneys and bloody all pushing through floorboards and all sorts of bloody shenanigans. We had to get go to another house, stop at some relatives. And then one day I thought, after a few weeks I went back, went to house. You couldn't see house. It was just a mountain of these bloody chocolate bars. All of a sudden I heard that sound. Chuffing chocolate wizard were there, wasn't it? He's bloody apologised and said, oh, I'm sorry about this. He says, I said, bloody hell. I says, I enjoyed it for a time, but enough's a bloody enough. I says, it looks like bloody no face at bloody Eiger. Made out of bloody chocolate, this. He says, look, he says, I was in another chuffing dimension, doing some other magical kind of chuffing activities, you know what I mean? He says, I lost my chuffing wand. He says, I couldn't find my chuffing elemental cane. I says, I need them to move between chuffing dimensions, but I managed to borrow one off a chuffing Dumbledore. So I've come back. And he said something like kind of skiddly. I think I heard him mention at one point a chuffing like a Pacific salmon or something. Or some kind of bloody fish. Octopus's left bollock or something. And all of a sudden this mountain of chuffing chocolate just disappeared. And there was his house so we could move back in. Again, I was going to say kind of thank you for bloody experiencing. He was chuffing gone. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The story, very, very true, very, very real story of the chuffing chocolate wizard. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you later, sunshines and sweethearts. After this kind of Easter period, we'll be doing some more of the chuffing whiskey tasting, and you won't have to listen to any more of this chuffing craziness warping your chuffing brain cells. See you later, sweethearts.